One person waited 10 days to see a doctor after his Iowa car accident. His first settlement offer, $0. Another person documented everything from day one. How did the insurance company value her identical injury? $100,000. First offer. The difference wasn't the crash. The difference wasn't the injury. It was what happened in the doctor's office after the crash. I'm attorney Tim Summelroth of RSH Legal. I've been helping people get fair injury settlements in Iowa for over 27 years. If you or someone you love has been injured and wants a free consultation with an attorney you can trust, call me at 319-895-1847. Now, I'm going to reveal something shocking that insurance companies don't tell you. Your medical decisions in the days and weeks after a car accident can make or break your injury claim. Let me tell you something alarming that most accident victims don't realize until it's too late. Insurance companies have a secret playbook to minimize what they pay you after an accident. Their own training manuals, which we've seen in lawsuit discovery, show that insurance adjusters are trained to get you to make critical errors in your medical care that will slash your compensation. Now, you might be thinking, but the insurance adjuster seems so helpful and concerned about my recovery. Here's what they don't tell you. That friendly adjuster is evaluated and promoted based upon how little they pay out on claims like yours. So how do you avoid torpedoing your own Iowa car accident case? The most devastating mistake that I see accident victims make, not seeking immediate medical attention. Insurance companies and juries won't believe you're injured just because you say so. Let me ask you this. If you don't have documentation from a doctor's visit within a few days after your accident, how can you prove when your injury occurred? Here's the hard truth. If you wait more than a few days to see a doctor, the insurance company will argue that your injury happened somewhere else, from something else. I've seen countless victims lose thousands of dollars because they toughed it out instead of immediately getting checked. What specifically should you do after a car accident? Let me walk you through the exact steps that will protect both your health and your legal rights. Step number 1, seek immediate medical care. Even if you think your injuries are minor, get medical attention right away. Many serious injuries, particularly head and spinal injuries, might not show obvious symptoms immediately. Plus, this creates that crucial first medical record, linking your injuries directly to the accident. Step 2, tell your doctor almost everything. When you see your doctor, be thorough about all your symptoms. Even that minor headache or back stiffness should be documented. What happens if the nagging headache turns out to be a concussion that requires months of treatment after you've already signed away your rights with a quick settlement? Insurance companies will not believe that you are in pain just because you say so. They need to read about your pain in your medical records. This documentation strategy starts with telling your doctor about every symptom and limitation that you're experiencing after your crash. So why did I say tell your doctor almost everything? Because you should avoid discussing lawsuits and lawyers with your medical providers. Most doctors don't want to be involved in legal issues. A doctor's job is to treat your medical condition. Discussing your legal case or concerns takes the focus off of treating your injury and can affect the doctor's willingness to provide treatment or reach important conclusions about your condition. That's why it's best not to talk about your legal case when you're at your doctor's office. Step 3, never stop treatment too soon. Here's a tactic that insurance companies count on. They know that most people stop treatment as soon as they start feeling a little better. This is a critical mistake. Insurance companies and juries often believe that if a person stops getting medical treatment for an injury, the injury must have healed. If you have significant gaps between treatments after your accident, the other side will argue that you may have healed from the accident and then suffered a new injury or health condition later for which they're not responsible. What's even worse, failing to get more treatment after a doctor recommends it. If an insurance company finds a doctor's treatment recommendation in your records and there's no evidence that you followed up, they'll argue that you don't deserve compensation because you didn't try to get better. Get medical care for your injury until you are either completely healed or your doctor tells you that there is nothing more that can be done to improve your condition. Step 4, follow through with all specialist referrals. Sometimes an insurance adjuster will find out what type of medical treatment you're receiving and threaten that they won't pay for certain types of treatment. Often things like chiropractic care or extra physical therapy or treatment from an expensive specialist. Here's the truth that they're hiding. Under Iowa law, the at-fault driver or their insurance company is ultimately responsible for paying all reasonable and necessary medical treatment caused by the crash. So it's your doctors, not the insurance adjusters, who determine what treatment is reasonable and necessary. Step 5, document mental health impacts. Did you know that depression and anxiety after an accident are compensable injuries? But insurance companies often fight these claims the hardest. Insurance companies and juries will usually not compensate victims of injury-related depression or anxiety unless those conditions are properly diagnosed and treated by mental health professionals. A person who causes another person's physical injury is also responsible for any resulting mental conditions. However, if you don't get treatment for your injury-related depression or anxiety, you're unlikely to be compensated for it. Mental conditions are just as real as broken bones and often cannot be overcome without appropriate treatment. This is why the same effort required when getting medical care for your physical injury is also needed when getting care for your injury-related depression or anxiety. You're probably thinking, who is going to pay for all this medical treatment? Many accident victims mistakenly believe that the at-fault driver's insurance must immediately start paying your medical bills. That's untrue. The other driver's insurance has no legal obligation to pay your medical bills until ordered to do so by a judge after a trial. Even if the other driver was clearly at fault, you will usually not be immediately compensated. Instead, you should first submit your bills to your health insurance. Second, you should use your own auto insurance medical payment coverage to cover the amounts that your health insurance will not pay. If you have no insurance, you should be working directly with your healthcare providers on payment plans when your own insurance would have temporarily covered those bills. Your insurance companies are going to get reimbursed after settlement. It's difficult to rebuild a credit rating after it's been ruined by unhappy creditors while waiting for a car accident settlement check. So let me tell you about a client who followed the approach that I'm recommending. He was rear-ended at a stoplight and initially just felt some neck stiffness. Friends told him to tough it out, but he followed our advice and he saw a doctor immediately. That initial visit documented his neck stiffness. Now, the neck stiffness did not go away. In the days and weeks that followed, what started as pain in his neck started moving from his neck into his shoulder and eventually all the way down his arm into his hand. Luckily for this client, this progression was captured in his follow-up records with his primary care doctor and his physical therapist. After a few months of this pain radiating from his neck into his arm, this client was referred for an MRI, which revealed a herniated disc in his neck that eventually required surgery. Because he documented everything from day one, we were able to secure a settlement that covered all of his medical costs, his lost wages, and pain and suffering over $300,000. Had he waited even a couple of weeks to see a doctor after the crash, the other driver's insurance company would have definitely argued that his injury came from something else, potentially costing him his entire settlement. Remember, what you do in the days and weeks after your accident is critical. The insurance company is counting on you making these medical mistakes. Don't give them what they want. If you've already been in an accident, get medical attention immediately. And remember to document everything. Follow all treatment recommendations and never settle until your treatment is complete. The choices you make about your medical care aren't just health decisions. They are decisions that will directly impact your financial future and your ability to recover fair compensation for what you've endured. If you or your loved one has been injured here in Iowa and would like to set up a free consultation with an experienced attorney who will fight for what you deserve, please call us today at 319-895-1847. Our conversation is confidential, it costs you nothing, and can potentially get you the biggest settlement possible for your case. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to this channel and make sure you watch this next video.